Right. This is an ordinance that we've had some discussion on, I think. I'd like to bring to some level of motion or decide whether we're going to bring a motion and pass this, the purpose of which is that for certain items as council decides, should they decide they could handle certain planning development or issues development issues that would normally, that might have gone to the planning commission, they can handle it themselves. And there's an ordinance that defines some of those items and the level of those items. So I'm looking to see if we want to
ask a question about how the process works on the motion.
What process?
The way this process works now, before this ordinance comes into, before considering this ordinance. Because, and I'm asking this question based on the discussion we had. I think you were out of town and there was discussion. And what I'm not clear on right now is the way things work today, how many public hearings are there for a change to a development regulation? I think that there's one in front of the planning commission when they're discussing it. Is that the only one? Is there an additional one when the council takes the planning commission's recommendation, or is it only one? I don't know, so I'm asking.
That should just be one. That's the point of the planning commission.
Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've always operated, the council always has a public hearing on any action it takes regarding code updates and such. And then you do have planning commission actions.
Okay. So I just wanted to clarify because
I think though, I believe what the law requires is at least one public hearing. So that could be held in front of the planning commission or the city council. Since you've created a planning commission, most appropriate would be in front of the planning commission. You can have more than one, and often you do, depending on the input you get from the public. But I believe you're only required to have one, at least one.
Thank you. Sorry, I just wanted that clarity.
All right. So I'm looking for a motion to approve this ordinance regarding the referral of development regulations to the planning commission. Do I have a motion? Okay. Moved by Councilmember Miramoto. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Wisner Slipjack. Any discussion? Anything, Councilmember Olson?
Well,
Sorry, I didn't ask.
yeah,
I didn't go around the table.
sure. So, all right, so I guess I'm maybe lost track here. And so to summarize this, we're talking about, this is the one that keeps coming up, right? For the last three, this is the third council meeting. Is that this one I'm talking about? So no, I would not concur with this. And I won't be voting for this because I do think that we do need more input from the public and not less. And just simply going through the planning commission, and even if nobody does, you know, from the public, they have the option to, but even if they don't, you know, chime in on it, that's 5 people from our community that otherwise wouldn't necessarily have the opportunity to chime in on something. So yeah, again, I'll still be voting no on this.
Okay. I'll go. Councilmember Slipjack, do you have anything?
No further comment.
Anything? No. Councilmember Sinwell, you have any comments?
I do. At the last meeting that we spoke about this, might have been early June, we went around the horn and I think most of us agreed that we wanted more throughput. And one of the concerns we had was, we called it checks and balances. We talked about stuff like supermajority. we talked about making sure there are at least 2 bites at the apple for the public to hear these things. And so I was a little surprised and frankly disappointed when I saw this ordinance because it didn't, it seemed not to recognize that discussion on June 11th. And that's at least what I was, when I walked away from that discussion, I thought there was at least that view for most of the council members. But anyway, so as it's written, without those checks and balances, and to make sure that the public gets those multiple bites at the apple, I couldn't support it as written.
We did, I think it was a majority of the council before, but now I believe it's all council, isn't it? So there was the wording change to be. Which was my concern last time, so if I read the language, it was an increase in the number of council.
So that's a great question. I'm looking through it right now. I think if you look at page 4 or so it's 1901-005, section B. It says, upon a majority vote of the full city council, the council may elect to address an issue on its own. So it is still a majority vote.
Of full council,
Of the full council.
full council.
Oh,
So the way I read that was full council means 5 and a majority vote of 3 out of 5.
yeah.
So my concern before was that if we had 2 council missing, 3 would be a quorum and could in fact pass by a majority of 3. Right, that was my concern before, but now we have a full council, and if full council 3 votes, then
Yeah.
that's the majority of full council. And that, but correct me legally if I'm wrong.
So I'm glad you offered that because I thought a bunch about, I went back and watched some of the meeting and looked at the conversation. So I agree with you about how this works as written, as revised here. The other is that anything that happens here, the mayor has the right to veto.
I agree.
in our city. And so we have multiple checks
We do.
on safety here.
We do.
Okay. I don't know what the term is for voting one at a time as compared to.
Roll call vote.
Thank you. I think it's called a roll call. Yes. So we will do that. We will do a roll call vote. We'll start with council member 1.
Aye.
Okay, council member 2,
No.
council member 3, council member 4.
No.
Council member 5.
I really want to say pass.
Aye. Okay. So the motion passes 3 votes to 2. And thank you for your.
And you can, by the way.
And I can be